The went over the Y the other day, and we're going to have her see if she can still remember how to climb the wall.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it should be fun. She's going to have a behavior when she's over there because she's going to want to try and conquer the most difficult wall, and she just doesn't have it.
Right.
It's not strong enough, not what. And so she's going to sit there and she's going to get frustrated, and she's going to cry. And then she's going to lay down. She's going to lay down, and she's going to have behavior because I'm going to have to take her away from that.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how far she goes in the escalation.
Yeah.
Dad doesn't take her to stores because he's afraid.
Mm.
He's afraid of a behavior.
Without knowing how to deal with it.
Well, not so much. That's embarrassing. Holy cow, there's nothing worse in the world than having a 12-year-old girl laying on the floor screaming and kicking. A behaviorist needs to know with 100% certainty when a behavior is going to occur.
Yeah.
So, I've been working with Astrid for a couple of months and hadn't seen the real gigantic blow-up that everybody had told me about. You first have to get to know someone, and that person has to trust you before the behaviors can change.
Yeah.
So, she loved the Disney character Bolt.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dog. Well, they used to have a Disney store over at the mall. So I asked her to yay tall. And I promised her that we'd go and see the Disney store. So we get in there, and she starts all open, running around the store, trying to find Bolt. She goes and picks it up, brings it to me, and I said, no. Take it back. No, she'd been taught that if she smiled, and she was nice, and if she asked, and that was her asking, then somebody would get it for her. So I said no. Took her over to the thing, and she put it down, and she walked around a little bit, and then she went to do it again. She brought it to the counter this time. And the person who was waiting on it started ringing. I said no. And Astrid started escalating.
Yeah.
So, in the past, it would just be a little thing. Because somebody would give her what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
She said no. Went back over there. She goes berserk. She's screaming and yelling. Police come. And she's flopping on the ground. And the police said, what are you doing here? I said, minding my own business. People circle around. Don't hit her!
Yeah, don't keep your batons where I can see them.
Yeah, no kidding. So she exhausts herself. She's screaming and yelling, and still no Bolt. And she got it. She wasn't going to get Bolt. Stopped it. Never had another incident. What we do is we teach them. We teach them how to behave. And that behavior is to give them whatever they wanted instead of being showing discipline, doing the things that we do. So, the police escort me out. They want to make sure they had some sort of credential on me. I wasn't. I was working with a kid a couple of weeks ago out in Meridian. Kid he was 16. Folks didn't like him. He wasn't of their family. He was a mistake, a mom, 12, 14, 16 years ago. Asperger. All his behaviors were attention-getting. So, he was with some guy over there, an IBI guy who did nothing about his business. They pay him $10 an hour to watch him, basically. So, he had just got back from Blackfoot South.
Okay, yeah.
Been there 8 weeks. Folks had sent him there so that they could change his behaviors. He loved it. I talked to him about it. I said, what was it like? He says, wonderful. I said, well, what'd you do? And he says, I got to read all the books I wanted. I got to play on the computer. And they were pretty nice to me. Perfect time out. When I wanted something, I just have behavior, and they'd leave me alone. They sent him home, told mom and dad that there was nothing they could do for him.
And he was able to articulate this, as if you're telling me.
Somewhat, not that. That's more remarkable. Yeah, but he's a smart kid. He has so many maladaptive behaviors, though. So I go to pick him up at school, and we're discussing, he's diabetic, and he's got his, his blood sugars are all black, and he elopes, he takes off, he's gone, he's into the wind. His other IBI guy says, well, I'll see you later. And I'm looking for this kid. So I finally find him all the way across the parking lot, heading across the road. So I get in my car, jam up behind him, and get out of the car, grab his coat, pull him into the car, and seat him down. A consequence for a behavior. Scared him. So he needs an insulin shot. He doesn't have his pack with him. So I head on over to his house. Mom's not there. So I head back to school. So we're walking up, and there's a couple of police cars there. Come sauntering up, and the vice principal's there. And she says, you're his IBI guy. I said, yeah. She said, I'm sorry. And I said, what do you mean? Well, a parent saw you put him into the car and thought you were kidnapping him.
Oh,
Call the police. I said, but she says, well, we understand. So, the kid sits down. I go out and talk to the police. He says, everything okay? Yeah, he says, we understand. Yeah, but at least the parents were doing what they do. So, this kid, though, it just breaks my heart. Parents obviously don't love him. You do certain types of things with kids with autism. If you're fetal alcohol and autistic, you don't do these 12 things in a row. You got a list. Everybody knows it. Well, everybody knows it who works with them, but if you don't know anything about it, or hears it. Well, same thing true with Asperger kids.
So we want to make sure that we get those lists somewhere.
They're somewhere. But the point is that people have been working with these kids from the beginning of time. And there's not one national database for people to use to be able to use the generational information that they've acquired from working with them and deposit that information someplace. No place. I've worked with, let's say, 30 kids the last few years. And there's not one place that I can go to and say, hey gosh, this is the success I've seen by doing this stuff. 3 million of these kids nationwide that I've been working with, and not one national database, not one website, not one place where they can interact and say, gosh, we have an Asperger kid who has this type of behavior, and this is the results we've had. Something like that, so that the College of Autism Behavior would have a source. And everybody say, hey, it's a great idea. There's all these foundations out there doing, and not one have addressed the most important issues, education and retention of knowledge. And so, we're going to see if we can make a difference with the TV. We got Jim Laddie, internationally known composer, and Danny Sorrentino is going to be handling the music. A young kid named Tony Mina, a poet. He was with 3rd Recon in Fallujah with my son.
Wow.
He wrote a poem called When I Was a Coffin. Unbelievable. So I sent him a note and asked him to get a hold of Jim and Danny so that we have his little input. Write a poem about autism. See what we can do. So today, after we have this wonderful breakfast, we're going to haul everything over and we're going to pick up Astrid. We're going to interview her dad, and we're going to start assessing. And assessment,
Standing, by the way.
assessing is just seeing how she is, seeing how she reacts. Oh, thanks. And we'll see if what's occurred over the last year,
Oh, there we go.
seeing what we can do, and seeing what she needs to do to get back on track. Told Dad that it didn't matter, I was going to just do, we'll do therapy Saturday and Sunday. I'll provide it and not worry about it.
Yeah.
He said to me, I don't have any money. And I said,
Put that down.
don't worry, neither do I. So we should be able to do this real well.
We'll do the long break.
We'll go along hard. He loves his kids. We're going to see today also Ethan. Ethan is Astrid's fraternal twin. He is severely autistic also. But he never qualified for IBI because he has no maladaptive behaviors. He's very shy, he's reserved. When we see him today, he'll probably have his shirt off, probably be in shorts. That's always good. I just want to learn how to eat before we put the stuff on camera. So.
Try and get that in the mouth instead of all the way down your shirt.
That'll be good, that'll be good.
And I think you should turn that off.
No,
While you're eating.
no. Why?
We're just live.
I'm just lying. We had to cut away because I'm a fat old man? Well, they can see that I'm a fat old man.
Because you talk with your mouth full.
We only got the camera for so long.
We don't want to see you eating and talking.
That's true.
And just as an aside, shooting on HD, we only get 60 minutes on a tape instead of 90.
Okay, so we need more tape.
Yeah.
We're gonna ride a bike. See if she still does that. Now, Dad says she hasn't, because she has to be supervised, they don't ever allow any sort of interaction with people. And the reason for it is that what we teach them is compliance.
Right.
And so they're susceptible to all sorts of bad things. The statistic nationally is 76% of all girls and 50% of all boys are going to be sexually abused before they're 18.
Yeah.
First time I met with Chris, he told me the other day that they're doing things, she's going through puberty, has gone through puberty, I should say. So he started on birth control, which is wise. I was always afraid. His big fear is that somebody's going to hurt her. That's my big fear. But I just love her. I just love her. When I saw her in the mall the other day, I was just crushed. And I felt so, like I said, I'm ashamed. It was all right for me to go and leave her. No more money to be billed. And we just throw them by the wayside.
But you didn't expect for that to happen. You expected her to be able to continue to grow because you were showing her how to grow. And that was our expectation, not that just because you were no longer in her life, that it would regress. You didn't expect that.
I understand. But you hope that the people that you're with, or she's with, will understand that she has a dynamic to her, as they all have a dynamic. Same thing with Joy. Holy cow, what a story that is, huh? Joy was, you know the story. They called me in, 8-year-old boy. You weren't there then. I don't think. They had hauled him out of school with the police. He was violent, always hitting. They called it the L team, got and wrapped him up. So I got over to school, and they said, gosh, we don't think we can do anything with this kid. And so I asked her to describe, the principal described what the behavior was, and listened to it for a while. And brings the kid in, and you're right, he is sullen. He looks like he's afraid. The teachers are afraid of him, and that interaction with them is just like poison. So,
It's not their fault.
no, don't tell.
They just don't know any better.
I don't know any better.
Yeah.
You know, even though they're special ed people with advanced degrees, they really have no understanding of the dynamics of autism. So I'm there a couple, 3 days, and I'm watching this kid. He's eating, like most autistic kids.
Yeah.
They are very particular what they put in their mouth. Might be starving, but if there's something I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat it. And you can't force me to eat it. I guess that's the only thing they have in control. So I'm there and I'm thinking, holy cow, he's eating this government breakfast, which is, cold cereal and a glass of milk. And this kid's 9 years old and weighs 140 pounds, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I start getting angry when the wife doesn't have a sandwich for me every 2 hours. So the first thing I
And
said,
you know how to make a sandwich.
and I know how to make a sandwich. Joey won't eat peanut butter, won't eat honey, won't do. He's learned to eat processed foods. Well, okay, let's do as much as we can. So I tell him, the kid's eating 400 calories of food a day. What he was doing when he was having the problems, he was going to room looking for food. And being the good teachers, good parents that we are, oh, you can't have it, took it away from him. Oh, you can't eat that. No, you can't have that. Instead of satiating his need and hunger. And it was just recently that I finally started giving him enough protein to have it make a difference. And look at what he's doing in school now. Behaviors are amazing.
Huge. Huge.
We've changed his aggressive behavior so that he's learned that it doesn't get him any good. And he's doing some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we can get Joey and get permission from the school district, we want Joey. We want to get Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
He's as severely autistic as any kid I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's so young and handsome, and he is, his echolalia is so verbal, they think that he's having a conversation.
Yeah, no.
That's not. It's just about stress. And he walks in and starts eloping, and the teacher's saying, "Oh, heck, come in," engaging him when they should just let him adapt. Yeah. So be some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to get quite a bit of work out of you for that breakfast.
Yeah. I know how to sweat.
There we go.
I can sweat with that.
So you ready? We got a pretty good idea what we're going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then tomorrow, after we've worked with Astrid most of the day, we're gonna have an assessment meeting with Dad to let him know what I think, where we should go with it, and what type of therapy we're going to be working on.
Yeah.
And we'll get that on tape, and then we'll call it a 5-hour series so that the TV guys can see what we're attempting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll ship it off to Jim and Danny and see what they can do with their magic, and see what we can do.
Great.
And from there, I had